Hello everyone, so welcome for today's Talkie Teaches. I will be teaching you how to lube your mechanical keyboard switches, and I will be teaching it specifically for beginners, those who are going to do this for the very first time. There are a lot of other lubing methods out there. This is the most user-friendly method that I have tried out, so for those who are starting out, this might be a good place for you guys to learn and practice your lubing. So before we dive into it, what is lubing? As the name implies, it's the process of applying a lubricant to your mechanical keyboard switches. And more importantly, why do we do this? To improve the sound and the typing feel. It eliminates unwanted ping, crunch, and scratchiness of your mechanical keyboard switches. So this is one of the ways to achieve what they call that buttery smooth feeling when typing, specifically or especially in linear switches, but you can also do this in other types of switches as well. So let's get into it. So before you lube, you prepare the materials that you need. You would need a paintbrush. Okay. You would need a, nope, you wouldn't need this. This is a keycap puller, so scrap that away. You would need your screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver. All right, so the flathead screwdriver, all right, and your lube. So we use the GPL 105, Krytox GPL 105 for the springs, and for the switches themselves, this is my favorite lube, the Krytox GPL 205 grade 0. There are a lot of other lubes out there. There are lighter lubes. This one is a bit of a thick lube, but for most switches, this would be the best choice. And for most switches, this is my favorite. And of course, to make life easier, you might want to get yourself a switch opener. So this switch opener makes life easier, and this is given to me by Squishy Types. Very cute, very neat, just the way I like it, very classy. All right, so this is optional. Again, this is optional, but you can use this if you don't have this, but it's better if you have a switch opener. These are my lubing station. When you're lubing a lot of switches, like what we're doing now, we're gonna lube around 70 to 80 switches. It's better to have an assembly line so that you could put each of the component out there. And this one, I will be using it to bag lube the springs. So it's not really a bag, but I will be using it to bag lube the springs. So these are just plastic containers. It's not that hard to do it. So let's put this on the side. I will show you the components of the spring, all right, of the switches. So again, if you don't have a switch opener, you have to manually open this, the legs. So it's really gonna be hard. Well, not really that hard, but you're gonna have to lift that open. All right. All right. See how tricky that is. Okay, to open the switch. So what the switch opener does is it makes life easier for you. So you just put it here. So make sure that those 4 parts here, this one will hit those 4 parts here, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so put it there. Not sure if you can see it in the video. Yeah, there. All right, and you just press it down, and the spring is open. So it makes life easier. So put the springs here, the lowercase, the uppercase, and the stem here. That is the purpose of my assembly line. All right. So you can see the assembly line is complete. The top housing, the bottom housing, the stem, and the springs. I really love this switch opener. Makes life very easy. So I'll teach you a way to minimize your movement when opening up the switches. I call this the press drop method. You press on the switch, and then when it opens up, the half contains the stem and the other half contains the spring. So you just drop it like so, and then drop it like so. All right, so it's a press drop method. makes your movement easier, and it will matter if you're lubing a lot of switches. Press, drop, drop, and another one. All right, look at that method. Press, drop, drop. All right, makes your lubing very fast and very efficient. All right, so these are the parts of your switches. Let's go by them one by one. Okay, this is the top housing, which we will not be applying lube anyways, so that's not important. This is the bottom housing. Okay, the bottom housing is composed of the railings on the side here. That's the railing. All right, the railing of the bottom housing. So I'll put that here. So this is the railing. Go on here on the side. That's the railings over there. So yeah, here, I'm not sure if you can see it. That's the railing. This part here, this part on the side is the railing. Okay, and then the bottom house, and then the leaf. This is the leaf, the metallic part here. So what we're gonna lube here is that part of the leaf. This one and this one. These are the parts that comes in contact with the stem. All right, let me see if you can see that. There you go. So this one and this one. All right, this is the stem. Okay, so this is the switch stem, right? And this is the spring. So again, we will bag lube the springs. Okay, so I forget to mention this. This is my improvised stem holder paper clip. There are stem holders out there which you can purchase, but if you're like me, I'm a cheap person, so I don't use those. I just use a stem holder. So this is what I do. I get a small amount of lube. So actually, if you look at this, this is very thick. You don't apply this directly into the switches. I put it here in the cover first to spread it out, and then I roll the brush, and then I get a very thin amount applied to my brush. It should be so thin that you shouldn't even be able to see it. The brush tip should be just shiny like this. So actually, this for me might be a little bit too much pa. So get very little amount. Okay, so what I do is I first apply it to the railings of the housing, the bottom housing, so like that. All right, and then the bottom portion of the housing, I twist the brush around as I spread it there, and then finally the leaf. So the remaining lube, I put it on the leaf. Right, for tactile switches, sometimes they don't lube the leaf, and as you can see here, there's a fair amount of lube. It looks a lot because these are black switches, but it's really thin. If you see white lube in your housing, then you've applied so much. Okay, so after that, we go on and lube the stem. So again, try to get as little lube as possible. If you applied too little, it's easier to add. But if you applied too much, it will be harder to add the lube. Right? So this is where I use my stem holder. And then there are 4 sides of your stem. I want to call it the walls. So left and right, and then front and back. So these are the walls that you will apply the lube. And then there's the feet. Those 2 are the feet of the stem. And then finally the pole. Alright. So again, in tactile switches, we avoid lubing the feet. But this is a linear switch, so you brush it lightly there. Alright. And then the opposite side. And again, very lightly, as you can see. Right. Again, it looks a lot because these are black switches, but it's very thin actually. Okay, and then the back part. And then finally the front. And then you dab it onto the switches, to the feet, to the feet as well. And after dabbing the feet, you can do now the pole. So brush it around the pole like so. Alright. So as you can see, the stem is now lubed. This one in the video looks a little bit too thick for me, but in actuality it's not that thick. But I decided to brush off some of those lube. What you can do if you feel that you have put too much, you can wipe off the brush either on the side of the container, or you can use a tissue paper and then brush off the excess lube. So again, it should be very light, just enough that you can see some lube but not white. So this looks better. All right, so that's how it is. Before we go into lubing the springs, the bag lubing, I will show you the individual lubing of the spring. So when you do individual lubing of the springs, you just want to apply it to the opposite to the ends of the spring, not the whole spring, so as you do not waste your lube. So you do it just like this. All right, but again, bag lubing is much easier. So there you have it. Everything's ready. Let's now go to bag lubing. So in bag lubing, they call it bag lubing because ideally this can be done in a Ziploc bag, but I chose to use this Tupperware container, so I place it in a bigger one because there's no much space for the small one to move the switches around. So you get your GPL 105 squishy types. I think says in their website that you can use 30 to 50 drops for 100 springs. So this is around 60 to 70 springs, so I'll be just dropping 30 drops on them. So you put 30 drops for this. 1, 2, right? Try to spread it as evenly as possible. Looking back, maybe around 20 drops would do for this much springs. So depends on your preference. So what you do after is to just simply shake it off and let the lube spread inside it. Shake, 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 shake. All right. So again, you can use a Ziploc bag. I prefer to use the Tupperware, and there you have it. All of your springs are now evenly lubed using the bag lubing method. Okay, so what I do is from the assembly line, I get a lower house and lube it, and then a stem and lube it, and then I put the springs and then the lube stem on top of the spring. Just make sure that it is aligned properly. The feet of the stem should be the one facing the leaf, and it should look like this, so that when you press it down, the feet are the ones touching the leaf. So if you do it the other way around, it will not close easily. Okay, so that's my purpose of the lubing station. That's why it's organized like that. So again, lower house, lube it, stem, lube it, and then the springs are already lubed, so you put the springs back, the stem, and then the top housing. And there you have it. You have lubed your first switch. Now all you have to do is repeat the step 70 to 100 times more. All right, so this is my tutorial, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something for it. And again, it looks intimidating at first, but it's very relaxing actually. Once you get to do it more often, it becomes easier and it really improves your switches. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you learned something from it. Please do help me continue this channel by hitting that like and subscribe button. While you're at it, also hit that notification bell to see my future content about mechanical keyboards. And also visit my other keyboard reviews available in my channel. Again, this is Toki Doki. Thank you for watching.